agreements. How many of you are interested in knowing more about that concept? And again, you know, we want to make sure that, as we talked about this morning, that we go, I mentioned it, we all mentioned it, John Assaraf did, that we go beyond our current circumstances to the big picture. And I personally am interested in whether or not I had a contract up there that I signed, which is the reason why if I don't follow through on it, I feel the burden of that contract or that potential on my shoulders. So do we all have a contract, or?
We all have a contract.
How many of you knew you had a contract? How many of you had no clue you had a contract? All right, we have a conscious clue. Oh, Rolanda's like, what?
I mean, explain that.
So we would take you back through hypnosis to just before you're born, and ask you questions on, you know, what you would like to do as a service to mankind in this life, and you would just answer like what you're seeing before you're born for yourself.
Does that scare you when you have people reveal stuff like that?
No, it's kind of, yeah, I find it fascinating. And I think it helps clear up people's lives where they feel they didn't pick their parents, or, you know, they have problems with the people that they come together in life. Yeah. But usually you choose those people to help you overcome.
Yeah. You know, for so many years as I was growing up, even when I first came to America, I used to ask myself, like, why was I born in Iran and why were you born in America? You know,
in North Carolina at that.
No, seriously, and I used to, you know, wonder why I was born in Iran. To me, it was an interesting thing, and then it wasn't until I started understanding more of this whole soul agreement or contracts that I realized that I was born in Iran really for a reason, to learn so many of the things that I have learned there, and to experience so many of the things, because without them, I know I didn't have the fuel or the tools to live my life this way right now. So I think that, you know, my purpose on some level, you know, has been that I want to lead a life of inspiration and ease. So whoever's up there, God, the universe, put my little butt in Iran so I can experience desperation and struggle, so I know what it is to be inspired and be able to teach it from a place of having viscerally lived it.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look upon the earth, I mean, Iran has a wide population of women who don't get to do anything that they would like to do.
Yes.
And so, you know, where did that leave you? To where you know. You do know. And so what do you have now is you have a show that creates brave people in the world and inspiring.
So I can see, Gloria, you're thinking.
I have a question, because I mean, you know, I was born to alcoholic parents, and I did get a chance at this kind of a circumstance to have a past life regression with Dr. Brian Weiss, who's just one of the great ones and one of the leaders in the field. And it was very fascinating, because I remember experiencing as a complete aha, oh, absolute truth for me. I could see myself in utero, or I was there, but I could stand outside and see my mother and the shadow figure of my father behind, and I went, oh, I chose them.
But did you come in?
I don't know that, but I do know what I came into this life to do, and that was how to love. That's my purpose this time. I mean, that was very clear to me. He took me back, and I had a lifetime that I experienced, and why did I come back? You know, what am I trying to learn in this life? So that was very powerful. But how do you know? I know for myself, but I would find it, I'm not saying this is for you, but for me, presumptuous to tell somebody, no matter what you've been through, you chose it. Because there are people who are so...
Like people who come from incestual backgrounds,
yeah, well,
and horrible situations. But did they choose that?
Well, it would probably go on to be more. I mean, you know, we can't look at the stars in the sky and say that there's aliens out there. We just don't know, kind of, you know, like where even we come from before we're born. And so, therefore, to investigate it the best we can. But I would say it wouldn't be fair for her to be born in Iran and us to be born in America. I mean, what is it that we're going to learn from it, and then how are we going to empower ourselves to really bring it into the next step of our lives to make it work for us?
Is there any way that we can figure that out on our own? I mean, do we have to go under hypnosis? Do we have to be with the
Meditate. I think that that if you're really good at clearing up the details in your life, like if you don't have any money problems, you're great friends with all your friends, you never talk about them, you have great parents, you have great siblings, you've worked out all your issues. All the issues in your life are worked out. Well, then maybe you're on a road of real success, and you don't need to process yourself day and night. But people who struggle, no, they need to know. There has to be answers for them somewhere. So I guess we just start with hypnosis. Let's break it down. Let's look where we can to start to fix these things.
Well, when I met Tara, I was actually pregnant with my daughter, and I had read Soul Agreements and another book that a dear friend of hers had written called Soulmates. I'd read Born Again to Be Together also, and I'd walked into the Malibu Shaman, and I had so many questions because my relationship was so challenged, and yet I was the mother of this child was growing in me, and I didn't really know where to go. And I was reading these books, and I was searching and looking for answers, and I walked into the Malibu Shaman, and I said, oh God, do I need to meet Tara Sutphin, who authored this book, or Richard Sutphin, who was, your mate for many years? And the fellow at the front says, excuse me one second, dials the phone and goes, Dad, I've got Marla Maples here. She really wants to meet you and Tara. So just ask and you'll receive. Because there she was, laid her hand on my tummy, and the first one that Tiffany ever kicked to. And I knew I was going to have a friend for life. And so you helped me through a very, very difficult time in my life.
On some level you feel that meeting Tara and being friends is a part of your soul contract.
Absolutely.
So do we have those friendships? I mean, if our friendships are not this meaningful, then perhaps they're not a part of our contract. So do we really take a deep look and say,
yeah.
What?
Well, I take a deep look and look at the most challenging relationships over and over again until I can clear them, of course. And the ones that bring you the most love, you just feel something that's beyond this day and this stage of life that we're in. You just know that it's an ancient gathering of to me, it's like a beautiful soul that I feel as if in my heart we've lived many lifetimes and we've gone through challenges, and now we're blessed to be together to help each other through this journey that we're on.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's an interesting topic, and Rolanda's like,
no, what? I love this girl.
I'll go as far out there as you let me.
I feel like I know, from a very deep place inside of me that, I really feel silly to even say past lives. Maybe I'm not as open as you are yet, because I'm like, let me just figure out this life, forget about my past life.
Yeah.
But I really feel that on some level, I feel that I have known my husband before.
Well, look at her. She comes from Iran, and he's in Georgia when you meet, correct?
Yeah.
That's an amazing story. There has to have been some incredible...
Just because I come from Iran, he was...
Well, I do. I mean, don't you think there's some guidance going on out there that is allowing you today to sit at this place and manifest in such a way together?
So was it in your contract to get married to Donald?
Well, the marriage, the relationship, without a doubt. I still wonder if I should have got married, but... But yeah, it was because with that situation, I looked at so many times, as you girls can imagine. I was like 20 when I met him, and it was so big and so powerful and more than I could really knew how to handle. So I needed to learn how to find myself through that, because it's very easy to get swallowed up in the life of someone that has such a big life. And he wouldn't mind me saying a big ego. I'll say it to him, Donald, you've got a big ego. But it's really a challenge to be put in that position. But I still, with every book that I've almost finished, very often I would say,
you can do it.
I have to dedicate something to him, because the lessons I learned in that relationship about myself, my eternal love and power and unconditional love that I'm willing to give, I wouldn't have learned it without going through that with him.
And let me tell y'all, Marla and I laugh about this all the time. I was a New York City street news reporter in New York, and I used to chase her down all the time. And she was always so gracious and so wonderful, and you've always had an even wonderful, beautiful spirit. Even when you were in hot water. But what they say? Women are like tea bags. You never know how strong they are till you put them in some hot water, right?
That's Rita Mae Brown. Rita Mae Brown said that.
So
That's Rita Mae
I
Brown.
believe Tara has at least opened our minds to thinking about what is my contract and what am I here to learn from perhaps some of my experiences in the past. So please give it up for Tara. Great front runner. Thank you.